Hi everyone, it's Jo. Just a quick note before the start of the episode that this episode was actually recorded a while back and doesn't feature me at all. It's my mom and my sister Tina when my mom went to London last year before we got our professional microphones. So while the sound is a little bit iffy compared to our last few episodes, this episode is still amazing and so funny, and I can't wait to share it with you guys. So without further ado, here it is.
Moments I have with you, and the moments I have with you.
Hi guys, and welcome to Mondays with Mom, the podcast that my daughter Jo usually hosts, where she lets me share my crazy stories with you in the hope that we all take something away from it, like a life lesson, a tutorial on what not to do, or even just a little bit of entertainment and a good laugh. I'm Leah, aka Mom, and today I'm in London visiting my other daughter Tina, and I thought it would be fun to have a podcast with her this time.
Finally, it's about time for you to meet the star sister.
It's also a rare opportunity for me to be able to drag Jo's name through the mud without her being able to.
Oh, I can't wait because I've been spoken about way too many times without being able to defend my honor. So this is payback.
So, Joey, I'm apologizing in advance just to protect myself against any future possible defamation suits. And guys, I would like to officially introduce you to my other daughter, Tina.
Hello.
Happy to be on the show, I'm sure.
I'm very excited to finally be a part of this little project that I've been excluded from.
Well, if you guys are already subscribed to our podcast, you may have already heard a few stories about Tina.
Without my consent.
Okay. Now, obviously, I firstly would like to mention how absolutely grateful I am and how blessed I am to have my two amazing daughters.
Aww.
And I have an absolutely fantastic relationship with both of them. However, they are both totally different.
Completely. I couldn't agree more.
Okay. Well, T, I was actually going to ask you, what's the first thing that comes to mind when I say, what makes you so different from Jo?
Literally everything.
I really, really thought that was what you're going to say. I swear to you, I anticipated that answer. Now, from my perspective, let's start. I'm going to tell you guys what one of the major things that I think makes Tina different from Jo.
Oh,
and
I want to hear this.
Okay, and I'm going to give you a little bit of background first. So from my perspective, I'm in London at the moment. We're recording from Tina's apartment. And when I arrived, I was a bit annoyed, but not really surprised to find out that her lift is still out of order. I was in London a couple of months ago, and the same lift was out of order. And I asked Tina, has it ever been fixed? And her answer to me was,
it's always broken. It literally has been broken since I've moved in. And
she said, why would it be fixed?
2 years now of broken lifts.
So me being me, I arrived at Tina's flat with 2 suitcases filled to capacity within the weight allowance that I was allowed, which
Bear
was...
in mind that this never changes. Whether it's 1 day or 5 days, it's always 2 massive suitcases.
Okay, but in my defense, I am a Greek mom, and let's reveal some of the stuff that goes into those suitcases.
A microwave once.
A microwave, okay, there you go. Honey, olive oil, Greek Eon chocolates, and lots of presents, always. So what happens is I'm sitting there contemplating this first staircase and knowing that there are a lot of stairs and these suitcases are really, really heavy. And Tina just comes up to me and says, Mom, you go upstairs and I'll bring the suitcases. And she proceeds to pick up 1 suitcase in each hand, pick them up and start walking up the stairs. Okay, granted, Tina, you weren't walking. That's not the best I've seen you walk, but she was actually going up the stairs with these 2 suitcases. And when me, being a nice Greek mom, offered to help, she declined and said, Mom, go up and I'm bringing the suitcases.
I don't go to the gym for nothing.
Well, okay. So that's the one thing that I'm going to just now highlight as a big difference between Jo and Tina.
Jo is weak. Let me put it in very simple terms.
Okay, what I was going to say is that my child Tina, and I'm really sorry, Jo, is more physically capable than Jo. That's a nice way of doing it.
Let's
Tina, we're
go.
trying to avoid defamation suits.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, and just to be clear, guys, I'm not biased. I don't love one child more than the other. The issue here is that I've got a lot of examples that I could share as to what I'm basing this physical ability judgment on. But for the moment, I'm just going to go through one. When Jo and Tina were little, like in primary school, I think they must have been around, Jo must have been around 12, Tina must have been around 9. Tina was always really athletic. She was swimming, she was playing netball, she was playing soccer, she was getting involved in athletics, she was doing long jump, high jump, shot put.
Those
And Jo,
were the days.
well, Jo wasn't. And although academically both my girls were doing really well, I wanted, especially since I had this whole issue of being a single mom and how I'm going to raise my children, I wanted my children to be amazing all-rounders. And so that's what I was aiming for. And I decided that I needed to find a sport.
Not a tiger mom at all, just by the way.
Not a tiger mom at all. Not in the least. And so what I wanted to do was I wanted to find a sport that Jo could excel in. So Jo and I tried various sports out, me kind of encouraging her and Jo kind of begrudgingly going. We tried netball. I mean, the ball came towards Jo. Her little flimsy hands couldn't hold on to it. We ended up with a black eye and a bleeding nose and concussion. So netball wasn't a good idea. We then tried to do running. And all I want to say about that was that Jo's 100 meters couldn't have been called a sprint. She wasn't like anywhere close to Usain Bolt at all. And then when it got to soccer, well, okay. All right, Jo, I'm not going to reveal what happened to soccer. So you don't have to go and see a lawyer to start your defamation suit. It's fine. We leave out what happened with Jo and soccer. So what I did, as I always used to do in those days, whenever I had a problem or I needed to brainstorm something, I would go to my sister Cleo. So I went to my sister Cleo and said, listen, how can I make Jo excel at sports? All the rest of our children were kind of doing not badly at sports. And I felt that Jo was like lagging behind in the physical capability department. So my sister and I kind of thought about it, and she came to me and said, listen, I've got it. So I said, what? She said, just look at Jo. And I said, yes. She said, look at her physique. And I thought, physique? She said, look, she's skinny and her body is like very lithe. She says she's lanky. She looks like a marathon runner. She's lean, not mean, Jo, just lean, and looks like a marathon runner. Jo, to translate in today's kind of lingo, you're skinny. So be happy with it. Don't complain. But what we decided were that marathon runners looked like Jo, or Jo looked like marathon runners, or kind of. You could kind of get a vague idea. All right, Jo was just thin. We leave it at that.
Jo's thin and tall, so.
But she wasn't tall at the time.
Criteria.
She wasn't tall at the time.
She was still lanky.
She was lanky. We'll discuss her height just now, but she wasn't really tall. So we decided that people that look like Jo are the kind of people that run marathons. And so we decided that what we were going to do, or what I was going to do, I was going to train Jo for a marathon. Not really, but it felt like a bit of a marathon.
At 12 years old, Jo was going to be running a marathon. I find that hard to believe.
Okay, well, let's go into it. So we were living in a very small townhouse in St. Andrews Villas at the time. And I was living there with my 2 girls and Toko, aka my lesbian lover, for anyone who's listened to the Beat the Bully episode. And I decided that I was going to train Jo for the equivalent of what felt like the marathon to me. And this was the school long distance running event, which was a whopping 1,500 meters. Now, bear in mind that this was a Greek school, and Greek children didn't really train. Greek children were really spoilt, and they were like mollycoddled. And so what most of these children would do is basically they would start running the race, and they would either collapse halfway where their mothers would come and like rescue them and give them CPR, or they would walk through the race. And so I knew my sister was right about this. Jo stood a real chance. So stop laughing, Tina. So
I
what?
stood a chance in the race that no one really cared about.
Well, what I then would do, because I felt bad for Toko, and my girls were little, and I decided I was going to train Jo. We would wake up at 5 in the morning, and I couldn't make Toko begin her working day at 5. So I was training Jo, but Tina had no option but to come along. So what I would do is I would wake
just for context, it was South Africa, and so you wouldn't really leave a child of 9 years old at home alone.
Exactly. And also we had to be very careful where we ran. We chose a very specific route around our block where there would be at least 3 or 4 stops where there were security guards along the way. And there were also a lot of people that were there walking and running at the time.
It was a popular route.
It was a really popular route. And so we felt safe. And what I'd kind of done is measured the distance. And if I recall, we had to go around this block or run around this block 3 or 4 times. And that would be the equivalent of 1,500 meters. And trust me, it felt like a marathon. Mm-hmm. I had dragged these 2 out of bed with Tina complaining bitterly every step of the way. Jo was still motivated because she knew this would be her chance to be in the limelight and excel at sports. And Tina just complained nonstop. But since I couldn't leave her alone at home, I forced her to run with us. And what we would do is me kind of running with Jo and kind of looking behind and telling Tina to hurry up. And eventually we would turn a corner and bump into my mom. Now, my mom, who was fighting cancer at the time, had become really health conscious, and she was walking around to just be healthier and improve her lifestyle. And thinking about it, I think the walking really helped her. I think she felt a lot better. And also, I must admit that it isn't a daily occurrence for someone who's diagnosed with stage 4 ovarian cancer to live as well as Yaya did live for 9.5 years.
Yeah.
And so I'm still incredibly proud of her and in awe of her. But also her motivation to walk really helped me, because what I could do is I would leave Tina with her, and Tina could walk around slowly with her grandmother. And usually I suspect her grandmother might have even had something for her to eat along the way, like a small little snack. And I carried on running with Jo, who was oddly enough quite determined. And she wanted to excel and win this race. So she persevered, and she only complained half as much as Tina did. So it wasn't as bad running with Jo. As for me, after all the agonizing training, I mean, I think I needed an orthopedic surgeon because my knees were finished, and I don't even think they've ever been the same again. But finally, this sports day that we had been training for came. Now, just on a side note, because Tina was talking about her height earlier, I just kind of, now in her defense, is Jo was born really, really long, super long, in fact, 58 centimeters, which was quite an amazing thing at birth. However...
Why? What is average?
Average is between 48 and 52. You were still above average, Tina. You were 53, and Jo came in at a whopping 58. I mean, children that are like 8 weeks old are not 58 centimeters long. So
it was abnormal from the start. Nice one, Jo.
She was long, but this didn't translate into tall, not in primary school at least. So the very good thing about Jo, and Jo, I need to thank you again, you really, really helped me out here, was when I bought Jo school uniform in grade 1, I didn't need to buy school uniform again until grade 7. So the entire primary school, which was amazing when you've got no money, Jo didn't grow. And she wore the same uniform.
Probably from like malnutrition or something, because she was so thin.
We did say she was thin, but, you know, look at how tall she is now. So there wasn't any malnutrition there. And Jo's eating habits are a topic for another podcast. And yes, Avril, I'm shouting out to my friend Avril, you will be part of that podcast for sure. Avril's a close friend of mine in South Africa. But needless to say, I was actually amazed that Jo's grade 1 clothes could still fit her in grade 7. Tina, on the other hand, was not as good for the budget, because I did have to buy you a new school uniform every single year.
Yeah, because I was a chubby child.
I don't know if you were a chubby child, But lucky for me, although I did have to buy Tina a few things, her cousin had handed down a whole lot of school uniforms that never fit Jo, and I could actually give those to Tina, and that worked really well. So Tina, I kind of think it's normal to buy a school uniform for your children along the way. So you were kind of normal. And Jo, by the time she was in primary school and when she was running this race, although she was really thin, she was quite short. Jo, I'm doing this to defend your little legs at the time and just while we're talking about the race. So in fact, Tina, looking at Jo now is a different story. I remember clearly in grade 7 when Jo's grade was learning about meters and centimeters and they did the whole measurement thing. Jo came back to me because they had to measure each other, and she was horrified to tell me that she was the second shortest in her grade, in grade 7.
Bear in mind, Jo is very tall.
Very, very tall at the moment.
About 175 centimeters.
So really, she is tall now. Now, my babes, Jo, you look like a marathon runner. Don't sue me, please. So we're now going back to the sports day, okay? We're back to the sports day, and we've trained for this day, and it's been amazing. And I'm going to start with Jo's race. And I sussed out all the girls that were at the start line initially with Jo, and they were all Greek. And I looked at these girls and I thought, Jo's got this. Jo's definitely got this. And then suddenly, just before the race starts, along comes a girl who was in the same grade as Jo, but she was a year older. So she would generally compete in the older age group. But because this was near the end of primary school, she actually wanted to compete with the primary school kids. And I think she kind of knew that this would be her time to shine. And she was tall. She had really long legs. And all I can say was she wasn't Greek. And I saw her and my heart sank. Now, Jo put up a good fight. I watched her. She followed all my tips. She started off slowly. She paced herself. The little Greek girls were collapsing on the side. Mothers were doing the CPR. They were giving them boudoir biscuits, and I don't know what they were bringing them to revive them on the side, and little energy bars and Powerades. And Jo did it. She was doing this race. She was pacing herself, and right at the end, she knew that she needs to pick up her pace and sprint. I had taught her that as well. I was so proud of her, and she came in second.
To this girl. However, I was really, really sad that Jo could only get second place, but still, second place gets you on the podium. That's not bad, a silver Olympic medal. And at least I was kind of really proud of Jo still because she was way ahead of all the other girls. So now, Tina was in a younger age group. And now we're going to go on because what I didn't mention is that since Tina had been walking around with my mom, she thought, okay, well, she's also just going to compete in the race. I would do every single activity at school.
Yes.
If there was any type of sport, I would do it. So there was never an event that I wasn't part of. Even if I wasn't the best, I would try.
Okay.
But I seem to somehow always manage.
Yes.
I don't know.
You did. You always did.
I don't know if it's because no one else cared, and so that was the only reason.
Well, I mean, it was a Greek school, but now I'm going to tell the story. Because Tina was in a younger age group, they weren't going to run 1,500 meters. They only had to do 1,200 meters. And because in Tina's age group, especially, a lot of these children, and again, I'm going to say they were all very mollycoddled. A lot of these children would walk or not be very interested or drop out of the race. And because the race would take longer, what they decided to do is they would let the girls and boys run in the same race. But what they would do is at the end of the race, they would take the girl with the first time as the first girl and the boy with the fastest time as the first boy. And the race began. Tina set off and ignored all my advice, as she usually does. Okay? Feel free to interject here, T. Yes, I can hear you just smiling sweetly there.
I'm just listening.
Yes, because I bought you groceries earlier. You can't say anything bad. And the only way I can usually get Tina to listen to me is to threaten her. So Tina being Tina, she didn't do what Jo did. She didn't pace herself. She set off in a full sprint. And I was watching this child, and behind me, I could hear all the parents behind me mumbling that,
amateur runners do that. And you're going to see
my
she's going to get
goodness.
tired. And by the second lap, she'll be walking and all the other girls are going to pass her and lap her. But what we need to know about Tina, and I'm going to go back to the 2 suitcases going up the stairs. I don't know if anyone else can do that. Tina is just different. Tina's got stamina. In fact, recently I brought Tina over to Greece and I took her to a cardiologist because we were concerned, both Tina and I, we were concerned because her heart rate was actually getting quite low at times. And so we were getting worried. And so I took her to the cardiologist to check her out. And he was explaining to me that, yes, this happens in elite athletes. And I kept saying, no, she's not an elite athlete. And
I'm
he said,
an elite athlete.
Yeah. So Tina believes she's an elite athlete. The cardiologist believes she's an elite athlete. Everyone ignored me. So anyway, right. T, you are kind of crazy and you do things in a different way.
Thank you.
So just on a side note, before we finish the race, just to tell you the kind of thing Tina does. So Tina's stepsister Aliki, shout out to Aliki, was training to do the Athens Marathon. And she had been training to do this for months and months. She did the training properly, religiously. She was so diligent. I was so proud of her at how she stuck to it. And Tina was going over to visit Aliki.
Maybe I should tell this story.
Well, let's see, yes. Aliki was studying at the time in Utrecht, in Netherlands.
The Netherlands.
Okay, Tina, tell us the story. Tell us what happened.
I went to go visit Aliki in the Netherlands, and I was only going for about 2.5 days, so it wasn't a very long trip. And Aliki had told me when I get there that one of the mornings she might have to leave me for about 3 or 4 hours to go and do her training.
Sorry, can I just add in that Jo was also on this trip?
Jo was also on this trip.
Okay, carry on.
But did not have the same mindset as I did.
Okay.
And so Aliki told me, listen, I'm going to leave you for a few hours in the morning, but don't worry, I'll come back and then we can go around and go to Amsterdam and do all these things.
I'm going to leave you for a few hours because I'm on my half marathon.
So it was the first time during the training for the real Athens Marathon that she would have to do a full half marathon, because I don't know if you know, all these training programs, they kind of split out the distances differently. You'll do a 5K one day, 10K the other day, have a rest between.
But you build up to that.
So she's been building up to be doing
for
this
about 8
half
months.
marathon.
Yes.
And she tells me today's the day and she can't defer this training because she's sticking to the program. And so I told her, listen, I'm here for 2.5 days. I haven't seen you in almost a year. There's no way you're leaving me for 4 hours. I'm coming with you.
Jo was left for 4 hours.
Jo didn't care. But Jo had seen Aliki more than I had, I think.
Okay.
In Greece. But anyways, so I decided that I'm going to join Aliki on her half marathon. Bear in mind, I don't think I'd ever run more than 3 kilometers once. And that was
and 1,200 meters at school.
That's what I'm saying. Maximum 3 kilometers at school. I think there was also a 3-kilometer race, which I once did. And that was about it from me. And decided to do this half marathon on a whim. And surprisingly, I managed it without walking.
And I got back and I said, Tina, what did you do? And she said, I don't know. I just joined Aliki for a run. And I said, well, how was it? She said, it wasn't bad. The pace might have been a little bit slow for me.
No,
okay.
It was interesting, but proud of myself for doing that.
Yes, one of the other crazy things, my elite athlete here. So we're now going to get back to the race. Okay, now that you've been given a bit of background on Tina's crazy escapades. So Tina begins the race, as I said, in a sprint, and she's out ahead sprinting, and no matter what these people behind me are saying, Tina doesn't get tired. So I'm watching my child, and she's doing really, really well. And I'm thrilled because the mothers behind me are saying whatever they want, and this is not affecting my child. And the last stretch is coming up, and I'm getting super excited, and I'm screaming. And just to let you guys know, Tina is currently in the race, and she's about 200 meters ahead of the first boy.
Which at that age, boys were generally starting to get a bit faster than the girls. I think when you're young like that, girls and boys, the girls develop faster than the boys, so they sometimes
can be
better at
faster,
these
yes.
things,
And
but
then when
it
boys
was-
hit puberty, then things change. So Tina's like 200 meters ahead, and she starts doing the thing that some athletes do and looks back. She's looking back to see who's behind her. And she keeps looking back, and I'm screaming, "Run, Tina, run!" And she gets to about 50 meters before the finish line, and she starts slowing down. And I'm thinking, what's wrong? I'm screaming. The crowds are stunned. Everyone's trying to figure out what's wrong with Tina. Maybe she's hurt. Maybe she's exhausted. Maybe she's given up. Maybe she's going to start walking. And she slows down to practically a walk. By this point, the first boy that is behind her catches up to Tina, and she allows him to pass her. Once he's passed her, she sprints her fastest to the finish line, full speed. And I'm stunned. I mean, I was watching this thing and thinking, you've got to be kidding me. My child was ahead the entire time. And she slows down at the end to let the boy beat her. And I mean, okay, she was still ahead of all the girls, like miles ahead of all the girls, and even ahead of all the other boys. But let this boy cross the finish line first. And I thought, what happened? Now, I'm going to let Tina tell you what happened. And if she doesn't tell you the truth, I'm going to interject. So, Tina.
My leg was sore.
Okay. Her leg was sore, and the truth comes out. Let me tell you guys, when I questioned Tina to find out, Tina, what happened, my baby? You were doing so well. She turns around. Should I mention the person's name?
No.
Okay. Absolutely not. I'm not going to embarrass her by mentioning the name of the first boy, but we'll call him First Boy. So she turns around and says to me, Mom, have you seen First Boy? So I said, what do you mean? Do you know how hot he actually is?
Oh, my goodness.
So I'm saying, like, okay. She said, Mom, a hot guy like that, if I had beaten him, he would never be interested in me. So I let him beat me because then I still stand a chance. Okay. So
I
Tina,
think that's slightly exaggerated.
so it's really, really awesome. And I'm really, really proud of you that you know exactly, and you knew from a young age how to manipulate boys to make them do exactly what you want. I'm extremely
I
proud.
learned from my mother.
You saying that, and I was going to say, I'm still trying to perfect that art. I haven't perfected it fully yet. I'm still working on it. No, Tina, I don't know if I taught you everything. Do you remember the incident in Rome? Would you like to tell everyone what you did in Rome?
I think you can tell people what I did in Rome.
So
Sounds very ominous almost.
Yes, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. So what we did is we were all on a holiday, and we were in Rome. We were with George, and it was George, myself, Aliki, her sister Eleni, Jo, and Tina. So it was basically George with 5 women. And he said...
And some family friends. It was a big trip.
That's right. We had some family friends as well. And so George told everyone that, listen, guys, there is no way that you can expect this guy to pick up everyone's suitcases. Each person handles their own suitcase. And so we were all kind of like pulling our own suitcases. They all had wheels, and we were kind of like dragging them along. And I think we had to walk something like a 10 or 15-minute walk.
It was a walk through the airport to find the shuttle after you've collected your baggage.
Well, it felt to me like it was a 10 or 15-minute walk. The shuttle
we did
must
have to
been...
walk outside because it was parked quite far away.
So the rest of us are kind of like dragging our suitcases along over like bumps and uneven pavements. And Tina just seems so comfortable. And I turn and look around. She somehow picked up, she must have been about 5 at the time.
No, I was older than that.
Oh, was it before or after the school race?
I was already learning. I was about 9.
Oh, and
Probably.
so she basically gets this 18, I don't even know where she found him. She found this 18-year-old Italian guy and got him to escort us
I always
to our
have a
shuttle.
thing
And
for
he was
Italian men.
actually holding... That's funny. That is true. You had a thing for Italian, or maybe Italian men had a thing for you, or have a thing for you, should
There you
we
go.
say?
Let's give a shout out to Lorenzo.
Okay, that's Tina's boyfriend, by the way, guys. And he's a faithful subscriber to our podcast. So we're gonna...
You better be listening to this.
Anyway, so...
You know what? If someone offers to carry your bag and make your life easier, are you going to say no?
Why would some stranger that doesn't know anyone just come up to you and offer? I'm sure there was something going on just before the offer.
I obviously looked like I was struggling. I
Anyway,
guess.
did the hot first guy did anything ever materialize?
I think you know the answer to this. And it's no.
So you missed out on first place.
Well, we had a fling, if you can call it a fling, when you're 12 years old.
Okay, was it after the race at some time?
Yes.
Oh, I remember. I do remember because the two of you even did a little school Ironman competition.
Oh, we did a biathlon
A
together.
biathlon. It felt like Ironman to me.
Because we were the strongest long-distance runners in our year group, the two of us. So the school
and strongest
asked us.
swimmers.
He wasn't a strong swimmer. There were other stronger swimmers.
Okay.
I was both, obviously.
Oh, there you go, guys. So now you know why I call Tina my physically capable child. And that's only one. I was going to say one of many stories, but I think I told 3 there. So there was only about 3 different stories. But anyway. So on that note, I think that's a good time for me to go to the part of the podcast where I say that I'm really, really grateful to be here.
Oh, I'm glad to have you here.
I'm really grateful that I can do this podcast with you. I would love for Jo to be here as well. Jo, you're here in spirit for sure. You're here right with us. And T, I'm really, really grateful that you took my bags up the stairs.
You are so welcome, and I would do it again. Just for the gains, though.
And please, tomorrow, will you help me take them down the stairs when I get ready to leave? So it's been really, really great fun. Thanks, guys, for listening. And we would love it if you subscribe, if you enjoy our podcast.
And we'll see you next week. Well, Jo will see you next week. I will see you around.
You'll see me around. I'm pretty sure there'll be a lot more episodes that you'll be featuring in, Tina, with or without you.
Oh, great.
But I look forward to doing another one. You could be coming over to Greece sometime soon, and that would be great if we could do one with the 3 of us together. I'm looking forward to that.
Me too.
Okay, guys.
Bye.
Bye for now.